Hello and welcome back to the Inside Java podcast, the podcast about everything Java, brought to you by the team at Oracle that builds Java. My name is Nikolai Parlok and you are listening to the first episode of Input Output. This is our new show where we talk to people outside of OpenJDK to bring you their perspectives and insights into what's happening in the Java ecosystem. This inaugural episode is a conversation between Lize Raes and Dan Vega that we recorded at JavaOne 2026 in March. Lize is my colleague here in the Java Developer Advocacy team at Oracle and collaborator of the LangChain4j framework. She's talking to Dan Vega, who is a Spring Developer Advocate at Broadcom, Java champion, speaker, and author. Dan is diving deep into AI, particularly Spring AI, and Lize's and his conversation starts there before branching out to Deterministic Agents, MCP Servers and Skills, prompt engineering, and Java's richness for AI solutions. Enjoy the episode.
So Dan, tell me your favorite feature of Spring AI.
I think one of the things I always lead with is, there are all these different models that are coming out. There's a new model every single week. It's the greatest model according to the benchmarks.
Of course.
And so we want to be able to play around with these different models because I don't believe in benchmarks. I want to give it a field test, right?
I feel you.
And so I want to do this without changing my code. So Spring AI basically builds on top of an abstraction. So when we write code, we write to an interface. We're not writing to a specific implementation of OpenAI or Anthropic or Google.
Right.
So we get to configure the model underneath the hood, and then the ability to swap out models or use multiple models if we need to, which often comes up in applications, then we can do so. I think that's very important today because having to change all of that code every week when a new model comes out would be a big pain in the butt.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a couple of lines of configuration swap and you have the right model to talk to. Amazing, yeah. It's the same in LangChain4j, we have that. I would say my favorite feature of LangChain4j is the structured outputs, and I'm sure you have them in Spring AI too, right?
Yep.
Where you basically force the model to answer in a JSON. It just will not pass if it does not, and it checks that the fields are there. You can just get a model to return POJOs, basically. Yeah. And that makes it a whole lot easier to test it because it's extremely constrained. You can just check, is this field correct or not? It gets between this AI magic and something more deterministic.
Yeah, and I think, when I'm talking about AI for Java developers, it's like we all use chat applications like ChatGPT, right? And when you ask a question there, you don't really care about the response because you're just trying to get an answer. But when we start working in applications and we're working with types, we have to be very deterministic about what we're going to get back.
Yeah.
I need to know that every single time this response is going to come back in this format so that I can go ahead and turn it into a type.
Exactly.
Now, there's a weird thing going on with structured output too, and I'm wondering if you see this on the LangChain4j side. You can ask for a specific format back. And you could say, pretty, please send that back. It's not always going to do that.
The trick is you say, otherwise we kill a kitten.
Oh, there you go. And then although I think the LM would still just go, we'll see.
You cannot kill a kitten.
There's this idea of native structured output now, where they're actually starting to build this into the APIs.
Yes.
And so that is 100% there. And
exactly.
When I show that off, everybody is amazed by that. They're like, wait a minute, you just passed it a type and you got exactly what you wanted back. And I'm like, that's the power of using a framework. You could do all of this on your own, but that's a lot of boilerplate back and forth. I want to focus on the problem, not the underlying infrastructure stuff. Right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's a great match with Java, right? The types and just getting them back like that. Yeah, there's a couple of model providers that already have this native JSON built in.
That's true.
And it's coming more and more.
Yep.
All right. Do you want to tell us a bit more about Embabble, the agentic framework written by Rod Johnson?
Yeah, it's fairly new. I think maybe a year old. I could be wrong on that. I got to see Rod talk about it at DevNexus a couple of weeks ago. He did a keynote and really talked about kind of the philosophy behind it. And I think it really starts with being a little bit more deterministic about the outcomes, right?
Yes.
With agents, sometimes they can be very non-deterministic. And he and the team started with this idea of goal-oriented action programming. And I think this comes from the game world. And the idea is hey, we have a goal. How can we achieve that goal? Can we take a very deterministic way of achieving that goal?
Yeah.
And if I build an agent, it should be able to do the same thing, any number of times that we run this agent, right? So we give it a goal, we give it some actions, and at the end of it, we should be able to achieve that goal.
Right.
So it's a really nice way of writing agents in a deterministic way.
And did I understand correctly? It's using mainly the types of the different agents outputs to chain them in a correct order?
Yeah, I believe so. I haven't actually had a chance to like really build anything significant in it. I built some like demos in it, but I haven't been able to. I know it's built on Spring AI because I dug into like under the hood there.
All right.
But I haven't like built anything in production yet with it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's cool because I think it just uses all the types you already have in your Spring methods.
Yes, that's true.
And then you don't have to say explicitly now the writer has to call something on top of the draft or something because it already knows there's draft and the writer uses draft.
Right.
It's really smooth.
Yep. There's some really nice features there. So.
Yeah, I know in LangChain4j we also have an agentic module. So yeah, I mean, honestly, Spring AI and LangChain4j, they evolve at a similar pace. Exactly. And there, yeah, we can we have this also deterministic chaining of agents, which I like a lot. So you see people loving this agentic thing, and then there's the supervisor agent or something that will pick its sub-agents or skills or tools.
There's a lot of buzzwords going around.
Like, that does not work so deterministically, right?
Yeah.
So for easy problems, it works, but when your tool list becomes too long, it just messes up every time.
Yes.
So I do like very much to put them in fixed workflow. Like I just know I want this to call the next, and that's very nice in the current LangChain4j agent configuration.
Do you find that I think there's like a couple different things going on out there. There's like these autonomous agents where you hand it something and it's gonna like go in a loop until it figures out how to finish something. And then there's like an agentic workflow maybe where it's more of a predefined set of steps.
Exactly.
And I find myself working with those in applications more than the autonomous agents. Like my coding agents are autonomous agents. But when I'm working in a business application, I generally like, here's the workflow that I want you to follow.
I have the same feeling. Like the moment you step in like enterprise world, you want to have stride control. And not only that, even like in the steps between one agent and another, often you want a human to validate.
Yeah, for sure.
So I treat AI outcome mostly as suggestions where I just force validation before you launch business critical processes.
Yeah, especially in the enterprise, they want more than tell me a dad joke.
Yeah, exactly. A poem about Java. Okay. Do you know what's on the roadmap for Spring AI?
I don't, actually. I know that where we are right now, Spring AI 2.0 milestone 3 just dropped yesterday. So 2.0 is basically what is going to work with Spring Boot 4. Okay. We just released Spring Boot 4 in November. Spring AI 2.0 is what works with that. Some things changed on milestone 3. I haven't even installed it yet, but I know that support for like Jackson 3 has dropped in there. So some between Jackson 2 and Jackson 3, some package changes. There are some minor changes there, but I believe the plan is to just get 2.0 out first. Yeah. Beyond that, I'm not privy to the roadmap, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's always a big thing getting a new version out, right?
Yes,
it doesn't seem like it's not so many fancy new features, but like keeping your whole API stable, backwards compatible.
Yep. Yeah. And I know that I think, one of the big things they're trying to tackle is we also have the MCP project, the official library for building like MCPs in Java and Spring. And that has got to stay like aligned too. So they're working on that. Being aligned with the things that we're doing in Spring AI. So I know there's a lot of new features around that as well. Yeah.
MCP servers are very nice too. And I think they integrate with Spring Security as well.
They do. Yeah, I just gave a talk on that here at JavaOne.
Okay, perfect.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, and I don't know about you. Do you get a lot of questions of like, there's these MCP servers and skills and agents and like, when do I use that or the...
Yes. It's actually something I wanted to ask you. Like, how do you recommend people to go about this?
Yeah, I think for me is like, you have to like understand what these things do at a high level. So like just build stuff with them, right?
Yeah.
I said in a talk today that like, I try to avoid social media driven development where like somebody over here is like, I'm running 10 instances of Claude code. Well, if you've never run one, don't start with 10, right?
Yeah.
So like you hear all these buzzwords out there and you feel left behind. You're like, I got to learn all these things.
All the time these days.
And it's like, don't do that. Like just start with the basics and kind of build from there. So I started building MCP servers like a year ago. And it was really this idea of like, LLMs are great, but they hallucinate. They don't have the right context.
Yeah.
How can MCP servers are great for bringing in context and taking action. Yeah. And so how can I get extra context into the large language model? So I think about it from there first. Then kind of skills came out. And skills for me are like a repeatable, if I find myself doing something more than once, can I package this up into a skill?
Absolutely.
So for instance, I said Spring Boot 4 just came out. I find that large language models, they're not trained on this yet, right? It's kind of newer. There's some documentation you can go look at, but I find I find that like with the Jackson stuff, right? So Jackson 3 brought in this new JSON mapper, which is immutable compared to the old object mapper in Jackson 2.
Okay.
I feel like the LLM still wants to like rewrite everything and use the Jackson 2 stuff.
Or it even tells you, but this does not exist.
Exactly. So for the second or third time I run into this error, I'm like, I don't want to run into this error anymore. So I may rate like a Spring Boot 4 skill that encapsulates some of the new things so that if it needs to learn about it, here's something you can go do.
It's a really good usage.
Yeah, and so for me, I had a good example of using MCPs and skills. So I write a newsletter, and this newsletter I use like this online tool, this Beehive platform to do it from. So they have an API, so I can write an MCP server that basically interacts with that API.
Yeah.
And then what I can do is say, okay, here is the draft for my newsletter. I got to go publish this. There are a whole bunch of formatting rules that I have when I publish this.
Oh, yeah.
So take my markdown, format it the exact way that it needs to be published, and then send it off.
Great.
So an MCP server controls that interaction with the API. My skill understands like input and output and how I want to kind of do things there, right?
That's a great use case.
Yeah, I think like again, once you've done something twice, can this be a skill? That's kind of my thing.
That's a good tip. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly, I would also say like Spring AI or LangChain4j, like test the features once. Like there's just no way that you're gonna work well with it if you did not spend maybe 1 hour just checking everything there is in there, like MCP tools, skills.
Yep.
And then once you see how they work, and also like to look at what's actually sent to the model. Sometimes I put this debug log on to see how it's actually prompted, because there's a lot of magic happening also in these frameworks. Right. And then you just start to understand, and then you see like, whoa, so much I can build. And also, oh God, that can be dangerous.
Yes, yeah. And like, it is, like you said, it seems like magic, but it's not magic, right? We know like there's something going on underneath the hood. If you can understand what's going on underneath the hood, you can probably debug issues a lot easier.
Yeah. Right? Even intervene with these prompts, actually. Sometimes it's important.
Yes. I was just thinking about that today when it comes to prompts and like AI. I feel like a year ago, I was thinking about writing a second book, and like I think I would have had a whole chapter on prompt engineering.
Okay.
Fast forward a year to today, I don't think I would have a chapter on prompt engineering. Do you feel like you're prompting less and like being more meticulous about your prompts?
I know.
No?
I really don't care, and I found it a joke, this whole prompt engineering thing. But there is this thing that together with a specific model, you have to learn how it, will derail basically, and how you get to steer it. But it's very much model dependent. And you can even see, say, if you use ChatGPT, there's this big version you think you're using, say 5.2, but under the hood, this changes every couple of weeks to some new snapshot version. By the way, if you ever build an application, fixate the snapshot version. And then all of a sudden you see it starts answering you differently. You have to use different tricks, right?
Tweak some knobs.
Yeah, sadly.
I just find myself like, I used to be like, you are, defining a role, and here's what I want you to do, and here's the exact output. And I don't know, I just find myself being less crazy about that now these days. And I feel like I'm getting better answers because the models are getting much better. So
definitely. But I do remember when using coding agents, and then I think they passed from Sonnet, I don't know which version, to the next. And this first Sonnet, they would just always implement everything, even if you just asked a question about your code, it would start implementing something. So you would write all the time like, it's just a question, don't do anything. And then the models changed, and the other one did the opposite. So you had to like, please implement it. This is how you do it. No, but do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, and that's why prompt engineering, it really depends on your model.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to talk about regarding...
I thought we were at JavaOne. I thought the keynote was great, talking about like where we are with AI in the Java world and where Java is almost everywhere AI is, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that too. Like I have to, part of our roles right now are probably going out and talking to customers and educating them a little bit.
Yeah.
I had a customer last year that came to me and said like, we want to re-platform our entire Java team over to Python, so that we can use Lambda functions and talk to Bedrock. I said, please don't let me stop you, but if that's all you do, you don't have to re-platform to do that, right? So part of it is just making sure everybody's educated that like you can do these things in Java.
Absolutely.
And in fact, like we have the ecosystem for this. Like we have these tried and trusted technologies that are working out there, like in Fortune 500 companies now. Like we don't need to move to something else to... again, we're not training models anymore. We're all consumers of these models.
Yes.
It's really been great over the last year or two, like seeing the Java community and the customers, the enterprises
really stepped
adopting.
Up, right? Yeah. There's like, I don't think there's features in Python at the moment that we don't have in Java. So they're like, especially when it comes to LLMs and agents, right? I'm not talking about training models, but like integrating models.
Right.
Just stay with your stack. We have it all covered. Yeah, and it's also something I notice every time I present, that people are like, oh, wow, can you do this? And I'm like, God, we need to make this more known that you can do everything and more than you actually can dream of already.
And we know like enterprises don't move at the fastest pace. So I find out like, we have to do a little bit more educating here and let everybody know that there's frameworks out there like these to help you with that. So.
Yeah. I mean, working in a lot of groups on making more complete example coverage of everything you can actually do.
Yes.
Because it's very scattered, all this documentation examples and just to make sure that we can give anybody like references on how to do everything.
Which, by the way, your demo in the keynote was really good because it was a full service like suite, right?
Oh yeah, I can just quickly summarize what this was about. So it was like a help desk system with like AI added to what would be normal human triage. And we did also train a model in Java with deep nets.
That was awesome.
I'm very happy we can do this.
Yes.
And I don't have to go to Python anymore for this one. And then we built it in. I actually, interestingly, built it into an MCP server that then calls this model. And then, but I'm like, we need to call it anyway. When we triage a ticket, we anyway need this urgency score. So either my code calls it and it's more like a workflow next to AI, or I let the AI decide it has to call it because it has to give this urgency score back too. And it knows like, okay, then I have to call the MCP server. And honestly, I mean, it took 3 seconds more because it has to formulate a prompt to this service that I have to call anyway. So I'm just like... It's optional in my code, which is public, but I'm like, honestly, with AI, sometimes simpler is better.
Yes, that's true. But I think this is really like the second part of it. The first education part is like, yes, you can do this in Java, but then a lot of enterprises come to us and like, okay, now that I know I can do that, what's next? Like, how do I take advantage of this? And like being able to like present some of these use cases and like, yes, it's more than just like a chatbot or a hello world example. Like, let's show it kind of full end-to-end working.
How did you like the fact that our RAG services returned citations instead of some AI slop summary, would then highlight it in the original text?
I like that a lot.
That's right. Yeah, I think it becomes now more of an engineering problem, especially when you really want to do this seriously for enterprise.
Yeah.
You have to engineer it correctly, right?
And I've been talking to customers a lot about that. Like really AI is just another integration, right? If you want to talk to a data layer, that's a data integration. If you want to talk to AI, that's just another integration that we're building into our application. And Java and working with like enterprise applications, we're perfectly positioned to work on those types of apps. So,
absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much. This was wildly interesting.
I love it. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Sweet.
Yeah.
That was easy.
You will not have to cut, I think.